Women, you've been in situations before where you've waited for your partner to finally pop the question. And after years and years of waiting, it doesn't happen. What do? Do you move on or you stay? Now, in the case of this lady, she decided to move on because I'm not going to wait while I'm turning 38 and you're not still popping the question. When she moved on, guess what is happening? She's struggling in her marriage. Does she settle? Should she wait? Should she leave? These are the fleeting questions in her mind. My name is Daphne Flashley, and you're most welcome to Broken Pen on MX24 TV. Broken Pen, we promise to give you nothing but the best. We get to discuss people's real life stories, and I have guests who double down as preachers, as your friends, as counselors, and so much more. Now, tonight, we are going to explore the story of a 38-year-old woman who waited for years and years for her boyfriend to propose, her ex-boyfriend to propose, her ex-boyfriend to settle down with her. But she gave up after some time because she was getting old. Now, she decided to move on, okay? And with moving on, she's found out that she's having problems in her current marriage. Number one thing is intimacy. Now, her current husband or her husband is not able to satisfy her like how her ex did. And so if they are in bed, she's comparing, oh, this is not what Kwiku used to do. If they're hugging, oh, this is not what Kwiku used to do. And it's gotten to the point where she's in dire need of an answer. This is where we come in tonight. What do you think about this story? You can go on our social media pages on MX24GH and let us know what you think, as your comments are going to be read right here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not doing this alone. I have co-pilots here with me, repeat co-pilots, actually. One of the favorite people, oh my God, my favorite lady. See, this lady works with grace and class. I want autograph, sign here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Lady Tracy. She's a licensed counselor. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Daphne.
It's so good to see you today. It's so good to see you every single day. Where do we go after here? Because we are shining too much to go straight home. So please, where do we go? We'll find out. We're going to eat food. All right. Love it. Women supporting women. Oh, you're jealous. Now, introducing my next guest is a jealous human being.
No comment. No comment. No comment.
Oh my God. How are you, Joshua? Olaoye.
Doing good. It's good to be here again.
Good to be here. Joshua Olaoye is a musician, but also on the Broken Pen, he's a certified, no, MX24 certified. Please don't go and look for him anywhere. A certified counselor, only here in MX24. He graduated, he graduado, we give him the, exactly. And we have two people, amazing people who are going to delve into. I'm excited about this conversation because the last time Joshua was here, he was very much vocal about how he explored about 3 to 4 women before 3 women before settling down with his wife. And so I know that this conversation, there's going to be a lot to say. My mom has told me this before. I'm going to say it. She told me that once you are not married to someone, once he has not proposed, oh yeah, dates people, because dating is dating, right? What hurts us the most as women is that when we are dating, we are not just dating, we are doing wifing. You bab. We are wifing too. And so when it doesn't go our way, that is why we are hurt. Dating is going on dates, getting to know the person, talking deep with the person. But then when we're dating, women are so emotional that we give in our all. I have gone to a wash before. I've cleaned, I've mopped, I've cooked, I've done financial advisor, I have done assistant. I have done assistant, parents. I have done. I remember those times when the person was begging me to come back to him. He said, "You are my mother, you are my father, you are my brother, your sister." I said, "Hey, I'm your cousin, I'm your grand auntie." He was Charlie. We do all these things, and then when we are disappointed, this is what happens. But hey, in this case, right? She waited all these years. all these years, being with a person, faithful to the person to the core, and it never happened. Now, with this disappointment, glory be to God, she met someone. And once she met the person, now she's struggling to find intimacy. She's struggling to be satisfied. She's struggling for the intimacy part. And I'm confused because now this is beginning to let me think that is this really why people say that test their thing before you enter marriage? Because if no, it's true. Because why would I keep myself, enter into marriage and find out that I am not sexually, attracted to you? There's a whole lot going on, a whole lot of conversations that we are going to have here. Now, tonight's Broken Pen story is titled After Love or Love After I Do. It comes from a woman who waited years for the man she truly loved to propose, only to realize that moment will never come. She eventually married a kind, faithful man who offered her the future she longed for. But years into the marriage, she finds herself emotionally disconnected, struggling with intimacy and haunted by memories of the man she couldn't forget. This is what we're talking about. Let's get into our story, and so that my viewers will get to know more. Because if we don't, you people are cheating. You already know the story.
Already know. True.
Let's get into it. My name is Michelle. I'm 38 years old. I have been carrying something in my heart for a long time, and I desperately need advice. Now, for years, I remained single because I was waiting for the man I truly loved to propose to me. I was convinced he was the one I would spend the rest of my life with. I loved him deeply and kept believing that one day he would make me his wife. But the proposal never came. As the years passed, I began to realize that I could not keep waiting forever. Eventually, I married a man from my church who genuinely loved me. He treated me well, cared for me, and made it clear that he wanted a future with me. I convinced myself that love could grow after marriage and that everything would eventually fall into place. Unfortunately, things not turned out the way I expected. Although my husband is a good man, I have struggled to enjoy the intimacy side of our marriage. I have tried my best to make things work, but the connection simply is not there. Oh, what should be a moment of closeness feels more like an obligation than something I look forward to. Lately, I find myself thinking about my ex more than I should. I remember the emotional connection we shared and the chemistry that seemed effortless. Those memories have become difficult to ignore, and I sometimes wonder what my life would have been like if things had worked out differently. The truth is that I feel tempted to reconnect with him, but I know that doing that could destroy my marriage and deeply hurt my husband. I feel trapped between my past and my present. Part of me believes I should focus on my marriage and find a way to rebuild the connection with my husband. Another part of me feels like I settled for life. That does not make me truly happy. I am confused, frustrated, and afraid of making a decision that I might regret for the rest of my life. Should I keep fighting for my marriage? Should I tell my husband how I truly feel? Or am I holding on to the memories of a relationship that was never meant to me? I genuinely need your advice because I don't know what to do anymore. Help me fix my broken pen. This pen, can we fix it tonight? No, I need you to be honest so that we start wrapping up.
I think it can be fixed.
We can fix it?
I do agree. I do think, yes, it can be. To start with, I think, for me at least, while I was reading, the few things that I noticed was the words. I pay attention to words a lot, especially when somebody's trying to. She used the word reconnect. She used the word obligation. Many people think intimacy is just for the doing, but I do believe that, at least scripturally, it's also an obligation. As much as you enjoy it, in the scriptural part of it, it is an obligation. It is an obligation. Because of that, I think that, and because she believes that there is a sense of reconnection, which means at some point there was connection somewhere. If there was connection somewhere, and now the connection is no longer there, and because it's no longer there, intimacy now feels like an obligation, which in its sense is part of it. And now there is a part of you that also believes that you can reconnect. So I do think, yes, there is hope, and we just need to walk, take a few steps backwards, and then come back forward.
Is this the reason why they say that dating one more than one people can be detrimental? Because I have heard otherwise, that you can date so many people and then find your one. But sometimes the game that we play in this generation, we are not dating with our head. We're dating with everything. Is this the reason why?
Yes, definitely. I think so. You see, I think the last time when we met, I spoke about the reason for dating. Dating is not for you to explore your bodies in sex, okay? You're supposed to check whether both of you are compatible. So you can have about 3 or 4 friends. You check and see whether your purpose, you the man, you should know your purpose. Check whether all the 4 ladies that you are dating, which of them best suits your purpose or best fits your purpose. But in this century, what we do now is that instead of us to check whether we are compatible, that is where we are having sex, exploring. The last time I said dating is just friendship. You should be able to move out of a relationship without any curses. If we are just friends, we go out, we hang out and do without investing. The man is not supposed to invest any money, invest anything valuable. Pay school fees, rent, girlfriends,
Yeah,
father's surgery,
yeah,
and all those
yeah.
things. The lady also doesn't commit any abortions, cook, wash, and do all those things. Definitely, if I get close to you and I realize that both of us are not compatible, I should be able to just move out
Okay,
without any curses or any problems. But it's because of the things we do. So when we realize that investment has gone bad, then that's it.
But this is also very trickish because now she went ahead and it's looking like she had a really amazing intimacy, thing going on with her ex. And because she met someone in her church, because it's church, she decided that I'm going to go the religious way and not, get intimate with this person before they get married. And so now that this marriage thing has happened, she's now in this box where she is not sexually attracted to her husband. You can tell me that it's obligation or whatsoever. So because of that, she should go and open her legs to someone that she is not emotionally attracted to.
so Daphne, let's start with the conversation that you started. At least for me, there is dating, there is courtship, there is marriage. Dating is that phase where I go out with you, we chit chat, we talk, I get to know you, I know what you like, what you don't like. Once I start seeing conversations that I do not find attractive, I know I'm never moving out of the dating space with you. In fact, I might not even go out on a date with you anymore. I continue to go out on a date with a couple of people. I go out on a date with this guy for the second time, third time, and I say, yeah, I like this guy. I like this person. Then it moves into, let's settle down. Let's let this become a courtship. Let's court each other.
Exclusive.
And that goes beyond dating. This is the point where we start exploring each other's purpose. I like you, you like me. What do you want to do? What do I want to do? Does it align together? And then eventually, if that phase works, we move to the next phase. Will you marry me? For this particular person, we don't know how the whole thing went down.
Yeah.
All we know is left my ex,
And
met this guy at church, married him. You married him because he's a good guy. You married him because he's religious. Is that enough for you? I do believe that nowadays, marriage is easy to get into. It's easy, oh, I love you, you love me, let's get married. If we get tired, we can walk away from it.
Oh my God.
Many people have, in fact, I would say that our generation, marriage is no longer a construct of society.
Talk for yourself. I'm not part of this.
I reserve that comment.
Okay.
It's a choice that we now make. Growing up, at least for my grandmothers, my moms, my aunties, marriage was a thing they looked forward to. It was a part of growing. It was like, I get to an age, marriage is important. My generation gets to choose whether or not they want to get married. It's a choice. I can now substitute things for marriage. I can substitute career for a marriage. I can substitute school for a marriage. I can substitute traveling for a marriage. It's now a choice. Because it's a choice, so many other choices are now becoming added to it. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And so now, if I get married, if I like it, I stay. If I don't like it, I walk away. If I get married, if I want to have kids, fine. If I don't, I tie my womb, I do this, I do that, just to make sure that I don't get married.
There are now so many options.
Exactly my point.
Where did we get here?
Yeah.
And now I think that Michelle's case is one of those. The first option, my ex, she probably have had this conversation with the ex and is like, oh, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then she's like, but I'm not getting any younger. So we're done. I'm moving on. Where is the best bet? Where is the surest place? Not the clubs, not the office,
Church, house of God, where you find the good man, the good man.
So I settled down with the good one. He's a good choice. He's a safe bet. I'm okay. At least for now. A few years down the line, and you see, at the beginning, I can cope with things. I can manage. I don't like how he talks to me. It's okay. You know, he makes up for it in other
He's a good
places.
boy.
He's a good guy. He goes to church. He's God-fearing. Oh, he hangs out a lot. But me, I like somebody that stays at home with me. Oh, but then he makes me comfortable. At least I have Netflix and chills, and I can go out whenever I want, and I can shop whenever I want. You make all of these options in your head, justifying the reason why you're going to marry the safe bet instead of marrying the person you love. Let's take it that the person you love doesn't love you back. Why not wait for the next person? Why not build that emotional connection with somebody else instead of choosing marriage because it's the safe bet? Michelle, you brought yourself to this point. We might as well, the best we can do now is say, this is what I think. This is what I'll suggest. But at the end of the day, you're you, Michelle, you know. You would decide if you can continue to cope with the unattractiveness. You would decide if the good in him is enough for you to stay without the emotional attraction to him. In the long run, you figure it out.
Yeah.
I wanted to even ask.
Okay.
You see, I don't know, but Michelle said the guy is a very good guy. He goes to church and everything. I don't know how to put this, but marrying someone who is good is not enough. You see, you can meet somebody who is good. And I wish Michelle was there. I would have asked Michelle what she meant by the guy is good. Probably Michelle would say, oh, he pays the bills, he provides for me, he's friendly, he's hardworking. But that alone cannot sustain a marriage.
That's our new definition of good, by the way.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know if you get me.
I get you.
The guy is good. He knows how he's hardworking, he prays a lot, he does everything. But the question is that, can that guy be intimate with you? Can he have that conversation with you? You see, these are the things that sustain a marriage.
I love that you said that. I love that she said conversation. Do you know why? Lately, people think that intimacy is just opening your legs. What of that? You know how women are? Like, what of that part where you get to talk to her, you get to have that closeness with her without even the sex,
Touching, yeah.
without the sexual part. Do you get what I'm talking? Do you get what I'm talking
I
about?
saw something on TikTok recently, and somebody posted a nostalgic comment about how once upon a time he will wait for me at my door. I just know he's there. That kind of, and this is something that I can relate to, because there was once upon a time where there was no phone. I like this girl, she likes me back. There's nothing sexual. It was just that pure, I want to see this person. I care enough about this person. I want to have a conversation with this person. The most you guys are going to probably do is hold hands or probably hug. But the feeling is top notch. No sexual intimacy, nothing more than a touch or a hug, but the emotional gravity of the
yeah.
connection that you both have is top notch. I don't think we have that
I
anymore.
don't think we have that anymore.
Definitely, I didn't even finish what I was
Yeah,
saying.
Sorry.
Yes. So all I can say is that it's possible that both of you can be good and still have a bad marriage.
Charlie,
It's possible that two bad people can come together and have a good marriage.
your character is bad, but the foundation of the marriage
Yes.
is good.
So it's the principles. Two armed robbers can come together and have a successful marriage. Whereas two church people, Christians, can come together and have a bad marriage. It depends on what you do. If you apply the foundations, the principles you're going to have. So don't just settle and say, oh, he's a good person. He likes going to church. He does that. The question is that, are you connected to the person emotionally? That is what we should look out for. We shouldn't just marry the people because we think they are just good. Do you like the person? Is that person your person? Are you friends? We should try to marry our friends. It's very
So this question in my mind, the question in my mind is, can you really learn how to love someone? Can you grow to love the person? This thing that people say, oh, don't worry, I'll marry, he's a rich man. Don't worry, I'll marry him and I'll grow to love him because day in, day out, I'll be seeing this person and I'll get to pick on certain things that they do that I like, and it will turn, or it will grow into love. Is it even possible at all?
already there. If you are saying something is growing, there should be a seed. Then you water it, then it grows. But if there's no seed, how do you expect it to grow? I don't know if you get it.
Yeah.
So you should first of all be attracted to the person. You're not just looking at the physical. The last time I mentioned it, there's a soul dimension, the spirit before the physical. Make sure you like that person and be sure the person also loves you. What we do is that we are all around. I love this man. I want to be with him. But we are not sure if the man loves us back. So that is it. It's possible to grow. But let there be a seed. There should be something which can grow. If there's nothing, what is going to grow?
Was there a seed with this lady? Because at some, you were saying that at some part she said there was a little connection.
That's with the husband.
That's with the husband, yeah.
Husband.
She said that should she try to reconnect? And I said I'm particular about words. The fact that you're using reconnect means that there was a connection somewhere. The question is, what was the connection? And just like she said, there has to be a common denominator, right? I do think, though, that the denominator, whatever it is, has to be something that is not fleeting. It has to be something that is genuine and repetitive. Because the more you can spend time with somebody, but you might not learn anything about the person. So whatever it is you guys have in common, there needs to be that. It needs to give you guys the avenue to intentionally open up to each other, to get to know each other. My parents, it was very religious for them. But that can go so long. Your faith is different. My faith is different. My level of faith is different. Your level of faith is different. How much of a prayer warrior do I need to be to love you?
But
Do you
does love
understand?
even have to do anything about prayer warrior?
I mean, for some people, it is.
So what, he will cover me the rest of his life?
I guess so. I had somebody who said, oh, he's very spiritual, and I don't have that aspect in my life.
So you are come to use someone's spiritual whatever to replace yours. That's dangerous. So
It is dangerous, but some people do believe that that's how it works. And they believe in this whole idea of my partner should have something that I don't have, and then I have something he doesn't have, so we complement each other. But they forgot that complementing each other means that we're comfortable enough to even sit across each other and talk about that thing that you want to compliment me on. I'm not a good communicator, especially when it comes to private things.
oh, you personally?
Personally.
Oh my God.
And so because of that, I have issues with communication. And it's not just my marriage. It's just my friends in general. They know that Joshua would never give you the full story. He will tell you what he thinks you need to know, but then he won't give you the full story.
Don't tell me at all.
Do you understand? But then it's that thing where if I don't tell you, it becomes a problem too. It then becomes an issue when your view of what you want to compliment me on is different from my view of what you think I need to compliment you on is. It's not balanced. Unless you guys have a common denominator, and that common denominator gives you both the avenue to intentionally open up, there is no growing that. There is no, oh, I'm going to grow to love him. If money is the reason why you're there, that money will be the only constant. It will be the only constant.
What if the money is no more there?
You walk away.
Walking away has been is now on people's lips like.
I mean,
Exactly.
welcome to our generation, I guess.
Charlie, I mean, what do you think do you think that the fact that she was intimate with her ex is also playing a major factor? It has blinded her to a new connection. What if actually the man is actually really good as she's talking about, as she's saying? What if it's not superficial? What if it's actually like he's actually a good man? He loves me. He protects me. He broods over me. He prays for me. He's always making me feel good about myself. But I can't even unsee what I had with my ex. Is it the intimacy that did that?
Yes, I think so. And definitely, you see, that is where my focus is. If she's actually carrying, let's say, an unresolved emotions from her past. You see, the man can be doing everything possible. But if you are missing your ex, or if you are missing your past, grieving over your past, you may not even appreciate what he's doing for you. You get it? So the thing is, once you've chosen, your ex is still single. He didn't marry you. So you had to wait for so many years and you are married to someone else. So Michelle should just focus on her marriage. I know it's going to be very difficult. And if she's not able to, she just needs, let's say, to seek counseling services. Yes, because once you've moved on, you've moved on. You can't eat your cake and have it. You see, if you are there, you are grieving over your past, thinking about your ex, there's no way you can even enjoy your current
In
relationship.
this generation, they'll eat their cake and have it and add milk.
No.
My own perspective of that
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
idea of intimacy is that when you think about how the ex has treated you, and then you expect a replica of it in somebody else, when in reality there is no sexual attractiveness, then you're deceiving yourself. It's like the way a human will communicate with you and the way a robot will communicate with you. They might be able to do the exact same thing, the exact same way, follow protocol and all that. But there's that element of emotion attached to it. I don't know if that makes sense. The inability for you to expressively give that same amount of emotion to the new person, even if it's doing everything in details, though, you won't get it. You will not get it. Michelle needs to understand that there is your feeling for the guy, there is your feeling for your husband. There are two different feelings. What made you attracted to your husband and what made you attracted to the guy are two different things. A friend of mine would say that, he's still unmarried, by the way. He would say that I will never marry somebody that I do not feel sexually attracted to.
Yes. Yes.
So if Michelle at some point has felt sexually attracted to this, her husband, and now she's just not feeling it anymore, it means that there is a walk back. There is a possibility of a walk back. But if from the beginning there's never been that sexual connection, just tell him and walk away, please. Just tell him. And you see, if you tell him, I don't think it's going to change anything, but I think it's going to help you both have an honest, open conversation about the way forward.
Yeah, so that he can improve if there's anything that he can do to, make sure that the sexual part goes on, then that can happen. That conversation has not been had. I
And
doubt.
let me also add something. Michelle should, like my brother said, she should have an honest conversation with herself first. Okay, she should know whether maybe it's just her past that she's missing, or actually her husband is not able to meet some emotional needs of hers. Because nobody knows. Is there something that the husband is also not doing? Somebody can be good, like I
That
said.
that
ex
caused the
used to do.
disconnect.
What is she missing in the
Yeah.
past?
Maybe that was even what caused the disconnect in the first place.
Disconnection.
Right.
He's good, he goes to church, he prays 24/7. That's perfect. What about intimacy? Is there something? Is there any emotional need that the husband is not meeting? She needs to find out.
Because I feel
So
like
when she gets to know, then she can tell the husband, you're not doing this for me. You're not. Can you help me with this?
Right.
Because it's not helping me to emotionally connect with you. That is what I also
I feel
think.
like you can't always get it right, or you're a human being. Do you get what I'm saying? And everybody is different. If this thing used to work on your ex, it's not going to work on this person. So I think that I love that. She should just have the conversation. You see,
So
most of the times we read these stories and then it baffles me because we don't even have to come and sit here. Should they communicate? That's the thing.
yeah.
What's wrong with communication lately?
You see, it's like everyone thinks I'm right, and someone thinks you should know. Just like your pregnant we were talking about. I'm not fine. You should know. But the thing is, how would I know if you don't tell me?
Right.
That is where communication comes in. We shouldn't assume that someone else should be able to read our minds. You should tell the person. And if you're also not getting the things right, you should also ask. That is communication.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, there's still more conversations to be had here on Broken Pen. My name is Daphne Flashley. We'll be right back from this break. We are still live here on Broken Pen on MX24. My name is Daphne Flashley, discussing the story of Michelle and how much we can help her alive her marriage. Her marriage is just getting to the point where she needs help. My number one question is, do you think that before Michelle had entered into the marriage with her husband, she had already made up her mind that no one can compare to my ex? So now has a problem.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
The problem here is intimacy. If it was the case of no one can compare to my ex in that space, then I'd say maybe. But in general, I'd say no. That being said, I do think as individuals, intimacy for everybody evolves. What you like last year is not what you're gonna like this year. What you like this year, you might like it next year, but in the next 2 years, you might have outgrown it. And for some people, it's constant. They just add on top of it. There's no subtraction. There's just addition. And then on the addition list, they are now going to reshuffle and say, "Oh, I'll prefer this more than this and this and this and this." Intimacy is not really the problem. It's the emotion attached to the intimacy for Michelle.
Please elaborate.
I do believe that you can be intimate sexually with anyone. That's why we have one night stand, of course.
Okay.
That's why we have prostitution, you know. But when it becomes something I want for me alone, there is an emotional aspect to that. And for Michelle, that is what is missing. According to her, at some point it was there. Now it is lost. I do like the perspective of maybe there's something from the guy's side that he's not doing that made her disconnect. And the truth is, they probably would not even realize it. It's just something they just, once upon a time we used to be intimate and now I find you, you disgust me or something like that. I've had my own fair share of you disgust me.
Who did that?
I'm not telling you.
Okay.
But I do think it is important for you to know when you get to that point, so that you can then sit down and say, I'm sorry to say this, but I think you're starting to disgust me.
Jesus Christ.
If you don't know why, be open and say, I don't know why. But I know. And then we can start to talk about it. For some people, it's not disgust, it's I don't find you attractive anymore. I have a particular someone who will look at me and say, lose it. And that's my weight. I had another one who said, I don't like structurally fit men. You don't have to have 6 packs.
Did you say weight?
Yes.
So where is the weight?
At some point I did.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't like it, lose it. And there was a particular one who said, you know what? I like you without beards. And I've had somebody that said, I like you with beards.
Yeah.
So for each of them, physical look played a role in the attractiveness. And for each of them, at some point, they found me unattractive because the elements they attributed to me and holds the essence of attraction is now missing. Because of that, they no longer found me attractive. And it was a problem, right? Let her have that conversation. What is making you not feel that emotion anymore? Is it something he has done? Is it how he's looking now? Is it what he used to look like versus what he looks like now? There are just a dozen conversations you need to have. But until you start having those conversations and until you start, peeling every layer of onions off, you will not find what the real problem is. And Michelle, I'm sorry to say this, but it might take you months. It might take you years to find out what exactly is the problem. Because I do believe that, yes, at some point, you liked this guy enough to be intimate with him. And now that is off. Because one thing I know about women, they can be very detailed. Especially when they are hurt. Especially when they don't like something. They will tell you what they don't like and why they don't like it. So for you, as per what we've read, I can tell that the problem is not the sex. The problem is the emotion attached to the sex. So talk about it. What is making that? What caused that emotion to run away? And if you did not like him from the onset, with the whole emotion and with the whole intimacy, you would have made it known. Let's be honest. You would have said it that, I didn't like him from the onset. He wasn't, I never found him attractive sexually from the onset. But you didn't say that. You said you want to reconnect. So yes, what happened?
Yeah. Hey, you are asking Michelle.
I'm
What
asking you.
happened? How can she make it work? First of all, the feeling of her wanting to text her ex back. What is it? Where is it stemming from? Is it because she's feeling dissatisfied, so she wants to be satisfied?
I think she's actually missing something from her past. So
That's
we
her
don't know
ex used to
exactly,
do.
yes,
Okay.
that maybe she's missing in her new relationship. That's her marriage. That's why she wants to go back. But Michelle needs to know that once you've chosen, you've chosen. You can't eat your cake and have it, unfortunately. That's why we say for better, for
For
worse.
worse.
Exactly. So once you've chosen, there's no turning back. I mean, that's it. That's marriage. That's how serious marriage is. Exactly. So that's what I think. Yeah.
That's what you think. What of rebuilding? You were saying that, oh, it could take her up to, you know, months, years, and what have you. How can she rebuild this? I know that they say communication, but communication is not that easy, especially in this situation when you know that you are going to sit down with your husband and break the sad news to him that I don't see you how I used to see you anymore. How should they rebuild this?
Yes. So, like my brother said, first of all, through communication, they should have an honest conversation, you see, with each other. Michelle should approach the man not to go and blame him for anything. Honest conversation or communication is when you talk for him to listen, to understand, not to respond. So he lets him know that this and this and this is the issue. You used to do this, nowadays you don't do it anymore. Or this is what I think is missing in our relationship or in this marriage. So I would be happy if, I mean, things are done in a particular way. And she'll be surprised that maybe the man also has something that he also doesn't like. Maybe that one will also come up. But I know from the last time we met, I think I know for men, maybe it may not be the time. He may give him a time. Maybe our brother will help us understand when you go and tell men, I want us to have a conversation. They'll tell you, maybe I'm not ready. So she needs all the patience to get a man involved, and they can have that honest conversation. She'll be surprised that maybe there's something she may also be contributing in a way that maybe is also not sitting well with a man. Sometimes, when you have issues with people, you sit there and you realize that, but you cry, you're also doing this.
Right.
Exactly. That is also making me do whatever I'm doing. Exactly. But if both of them are not able to, reach a consensus, they're not able to arrive at any decision, then they can seek support, maybe from a licensed counselor, a professional counselor,
Yeah.
can come in to help them. Sometimes people are in love with themselves, but they are not able to communicate well to help them. They need a third party to help them to do that. And both of them should not be surprised about whatever they are going to hear.
Yeah.
That is the
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Because someone may say something, you'll be like, hey, really? Yes, that is the whole thing. That is what we call honest conversation. Just be, like you said, women are detailed. Whatever you think is the issue, let the man know. If he's not able to resolve or solve all those things for you, there's no way you can become emotionally connected with him.
Yeah.
So let him know, don't fake it, don't excuse anything. Let him know exactly how you feel. And that's the only way he can also come through for you. Exactly. That is what I think.
That's very sensitive. But realistically speaking, as a married man, realistically speaking, what do you think healing will look like for Michelle and her husband? Should she actually gather the courage to say this is what is happening?
Yes. From what she said, it doesn't look as if the husband has noticed yet, which I find very interesting. Because if the husband has noticed, she would have mentioned it that
Yeah.
it's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
But right now, as of now, it's just a you problem. He's not been privy to it. He doesn't know how you feel, which I think is a good space to start the conversation. It would be very much of a problem if he notices it, you notice it, and it's now that thing where you guys are, colliding and head on with each other. But another thing is, please don't do it after sex, please. Just make sure that the whole conversation happens. Make sure that conversation happens a long time before the whole thing happens. Please make sure it's not before or after it. Make sure it's way far apart. But I do think that the fact that he is not privy to that, how you feel yet, is a very good space to start with, because then he knows that not only have you willingly given to make sure that he is satisfied, but you've held the pain enough because you care about him. And I think if you do not genuinely love and care about him, you would not have given in. even when you're not feeling it. So that should count for something. And I think from men perspective, it does really do count for something, especially if you're married. It does really do count for something. And you would find it interesting that the husband would be much more interested in helping her get back to that point. I won't generalize this time, but I would say that it's important for me to know that we're both okay sexually.
Oh, so after you ask, are you okay?
Do you understand? Like, it's important. And like I said, what you like last year might not be what you like this year. So that conversation is an ongoing, forever ongoing conversation. So if your kink has changed, please let him know. If his kink has changed, make sure he lets you know. And if he's not saying anything, ask him.
Yeah.
It's important that you guys keep up to date. Because, see, when you get married, in the first year, you guys will want to have every conversation you want to have. But like 2-3 years down the line, it gets, And that's why I hold on to what my friend said when he said, I'll never marry somebody who I'm not sexually attracted to. Because trust me, 2-3 years down the line, we will not be as life is happening to everybody. There might be child in the mix. There might be school. There might be work. There might be one or two things. But because I'm sexually hooked on you, even if I don't want to talk to you, there's always a reason to. Do you understand?
Communication will always come.
It will come.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
It will come. So the fact that you're still even giving in means you care enough about him. And that is a good thing. At least from my standpoint, it is a good thing. Because many people will clock out, though. I'm done. I'm not feeling you anymore. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. It's not tonight, not today, not tomorrow. Do you understand? But you've not gotten to that point yet. Which means there is something you really, really care about. Not only do you care about him, you care about your marriage. So you might as well have the conversation while he doesn't even realize it yet. And see how he responds to that. Because how he responds to that will really determine, and he will go a long way. He's in the unknowing state. Do you understand? Like, he has no idea. You breaking that news to him means you're welcoming him into your own space mentally. And not just that, give him the idea of how long it's been. And I think that would also play a good role. Tell him how long you've been feeling this way. From the time you've been feeling it to the time where they are now having the conversation. That would play a long, and like, so for all this while, you've not been, and you've still been, well, we might as well just.
Yeah, before we get into comments, I need you I need you to advise like people who get married and start to feel guilty that they settle down. What advice would you genuinely give them?
So I think you're in the spirit. I was just going to add to what my brother said. It's in line with your question. So definitely, I think I have a message for the singles. Okay. Just like my brother said, make sure whoever you settle with is someone that you are sexually attracted to. There's a case that I handled. The lady said, my husband is similar to Michelle's case. My husband is good. I love him. He does everything. But the thing is, when he touches me, I just get angry.
Hey, angry.
Just seeing this man when he touches me, instead of sex to be something that mutually enjoyed, it becomes like a chore. Meanwhile, the man is a good man. He says, Lady Tracy, this man is he pays all the bills, he takes care of the kids, but I am just not connected to him. I just don't love him. And because of that, I'm not enjoying this sexual intimacy. Yes, it is very real.
Yeah.
So I asked her, when did this thing happen? She said, from day one. But the guy was a good man. He was in church, active in church, doing everything. So I think that what her pastor actually recommended. So you know that kind of recommendation. That people are, putting people together as though it's a job. This is my son in Christ. He's doing well. He's doing blah blah blah. So come together. She says the man is a good. So you know what she's doing now? She told me she had to go back to her ex. She's now reconnected to her ex, even though she's living with a good. That's why I said, getting close to a good person does not mean your marriage is going to work. You can be with a good person and still be satisfying yourself somewhere. So if you're a single person listening to me, please make sure you marry somebody that you are sexually attracted. Otherwise, you'll be with a good person and will go out and want to be with a bad person in quote. That is what I'll say.
That's what you said. Well, let's get into some of the messages. We have this message from Freckled Sunflower, and she says, what you should be doing is praying to break that soul tie you have with your ex. Right now, what you're missing is a fantasy. If you had insisted on marrying that ex and things never worked out well, the truth is that you're just missing the intimacy you had with that ex because you are somehow still holding on to him. The same reasons why you left the first time may still be there and be even worse now. If that ex had really cared for you, why did he never make the intentions he had with you clear? Another thing, if you care about your husband, then pray about your intimacy with him. Also, stop comparing. The comparing is with capital letters. Also, stop comparing him to your ex. You made a choice. Now work on that choice and not miss on a good man because of foolish fantasies. There are no better options out there. Oh my God. That was
That's not
Pepe.
true.
Like,
That's not true.
that's not true.
When you have people in marriage say, oh, there's nothing out there, stay in your marriage, and then you have people out there saying, oh, there's nothing out here. If you find a good man, hold on to him. You people should stop lying to yourself.
Hey, let's move away from that. Now, Janet says, you're probably dealing with soul ties. Oh, the soul ties keep coming up. And need to pray that the Lord helps you. The grass is not greener on the other side. You're married to a God-fearing man who is probably not disturbing you in any way. And you want to throw that away for a man who couldn't even honor you and your values. Please don't throw away what you have and don't say anything to your husband either. Oh, wow. Don't say anything to your husband either.
Communicate with God, but don't communicate with the person you have the problem with. Okay.
Don't say anything to your husband either.
No, communicate with God, but don't communicate with the person you have the problem with.
Okay. So what makes you think your so-called lover loves you? All the years you guys were together, he never proposed to you to be his wife. So why bother yourself? Focus on your marriage. Pray over how you feel about your ex. Love your husband because you said he's a good man. So he really deserves to be loved back by you. Don't do anything and regret it later because trust me, you regret it. Dasibra says, just know those desires will destroy not only your marriage, but you too. I cannot find it twice, not even in this. You cannot find it twice, not even in the same person. And then lastly, someone says, women. This is why I never date anyone from my church. It will be a man's greatest regret if he should ever do that. If Master, are you giving advice to what's his name? He says, if the marriage is not working for you, move on and go somewhere else. You are here playing fantasies in your head. For all you know, it may not even end well if you had married the other guy. Well, this is what some people had to say. We've gotten to look into my eyes, and I'm excited because every single time we get to look into the eyes of the person who sent their stories where we have a conversation with them. And so, Lady Tracy, we are going to start with you. Please look into the camera and talk some sense into Michelle because she's joking.
Hello, Michelle. I trust you are doing well. Okay, so from your story, you gave us something valuable. You said that your husband is a good man. Okay, and that's good. That gives us a lot of hope. But like we've been saying, just have an honest conversation with your own self. What do you want? Is the obstacle inside the marriage or is outside the marriage? Are you just missing what your ex used to do, or there's something your husband is not doing right? Just come to that point. Be very honest with yourself. So you have this honest conversation, you cannot move on. If you realize that it is something that your husband is not doing right, just have that, pray about it if you're a Christian, and have that honest conversation with your husband. Let him know the emotional needs that he's not satisfying. But if you realize that it is coming from your ex, and that one, like we said, once you are in the marriage, you have to cope with it. How can you do that? You can seek the services of a licensed or a professional counselor who can help you, right? So all the best. I know everything will be fine. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And then we're moving on to Joshua. Please be nice.
Michelle, I'll try my possible best to be nice. I would say that the first thing is communication, but the system or the hierarchy of communication will be have a conversation with yourself, have a conversation with your husband, have a conversation with God, because you both are God-fearing people, right? And if at that point it's still not sorted out, have a conversation with a third party. Somebody, please don't go to your pastor. Please don't do it. Go to a licensed person who has gone to school, who has read about it, who understands the dynamic of marriage, resolution of conflicts, and talked with that person. Again, don't go to your pastor. Secondly, whatever made you lose that connection should be what you should be asking yourself. What made me lose the connection? If you can answer that question in detail, not only have you solved 50% of the problem, but you've helped your husband understand where you're standing, where you're coming from. Lastly, nothing would give you more joy than to throw away the thought of what ifs. In marriage, there's no what if, so talk about it. Don't assume. Assumption will kill your marriage faster than your husband being a bad person. Assumption will kill your marriage faster than you being a bad person. Assumption will even kill your marriage than bad advice. So please don't assume. Don't ask yourself what if. Communicate with him. At the end of it all, I wish you good luck, but I do believe that if you believe that you can reconnect, then I believe you can reconnect too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, my name is Daphne Flashy, and I was joined in the studio by Lady Tracy. She's a counselor and licensed. And so, if you're watching me, Michelle, please, you know what to do. Lady Tracy, please give her your number so that she could call you.
All right. So, Michelle, my number is 0246 739945. 0246 739945.
And your social media handles.
Okay, so Lady Tracy on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on TikTok.
Guys, I follow here. I follow here. Yes, and then Joshua, please, any new music out for us?
Yes. Summertime and Falsetto is out tonight, and please do to check it out. I do have a couple of shows coming up as well, and I have a couple of collaborations as well. So please do follow me, J_classic. That's JAYH_KLASIQ.
After you
on all
finish
platforms.
blasting Tracy, I'm now looking into her eyes to tell her that she should listen to your
Oh, please
music.
listen to my music.
Oh, Michelle.
Yeah,
Michelle.
I said Tracy. Oh no.
Yes, Michelle, you should listen to my music. You get why?
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's always an amazing time to always have you on Broken Pen. My name is Daphne Flashley. Michelle, you heard all they had to say. I wish you nothing but the best, but we will be back with more conversations right here on Broken Pen. Have a good evening.